All right, they are done with the first piece of timber. Almost done with the second piece. They're gonna probably finish that up today. Finally cooking right along on the logging. So I just wanted to do a little update. Here's just kind of their pile. They got a couple good piles here, a few good piles. There was a lot of maple in this piece, some red oak, mostly maple, a little bit of aspen. But it is wide open now. So what I'm going to do is I had a before shot. I don't know if the audio line up great with this, but I'll link to that next, and then I'll do an after shot of what the woods looks like. I did want to show this though, for people that are hesitant to log. Here's a good reason why you should log. We had a lot of this going on where the trees were just over mature, and even though these are smaller diameter trees doesn't mean that they're not older trees, because if they're next to a large tree, the age class of the trees can be the same, so they don't necessarily have to be a 24-inch tree to be an old tree. But we had a lot of this going on with our maple. I mean, this stuff should have been logged probably 20-30 years ago. We just never thought to do it, and we're glad we did it now. But we did have to leave some maples standing because like in one part of the woods, he just said it was just too rotten. So if you want to improve your hunting and actually get some money for your trees, it's good to think about doing logging. It's just a good way to keep the forest healthy, because there's just a lot of unhealthy trees. There's another one you just see, just a lot of rot in the middle. So anyway, all right, well, I will switch to the before shot here, and then I will do a follow-up and show you what it looks like after the logging was done. All right, here's another section of woods. See, we got some red oak, maple, yeah, basically red oak and maple, a few basswood. But as of right now, wide open. Cut a ton of ironwood out of here. But these big trees will get out, because, I mean, it looks like I cut a ton, but you can see no sunlight still. I got the same situation. Flush of maples at maybe a foot tall. That's as tall as they get. So we got to get some sunlight coming in, and hopefully get some oak regen along with the maples. I'm sure the maples will be pretty vigorous, but I will come back through, check every year, and if I see oaks coming, I'm gonna do my best to protect them and give them a chance to get some oaks back in here. But the main goal of logging is that early successional growth. I mean, I love oak trees, and I don't just cut oak trees to cut them. But these ones are mature, they're ready to get harvested, get some money in the old man's pocket, and we're going to get the best deer habitat coming back, and that's that early successional growth. And you can see they nip at all of it. It's what our deer need here in the North Country. The red oak acorns are good after season because they're so acidic. So they really are just more of a late winter, early spring type food source. White oaks are really good for that first couple weeks of bow season in late September, but they get cleaned up. So for the majority of the season, what the deer need is this. They need woody stems. And that's what our goal is in the logging, is to create more woody stems and create cover, because we have no cover in a lot of our woods. So we'll get the trees out, and once the trees are out of here, I'll come back in those, we got some dense little maple pockets. I'll be doing some hinge cutting to give some cover for the time being while this stuff blows up. So I think this will probably be the only other update I do. We're logging 5 different sections of woods, but you'll get the idea from these two here. So I'll make sure to do a good follow-up. All right, here's the post-logging shot. So this is the main trail that runs the ridge right here. Got the deer stand right there, and then here is where they logged. You can see a massive difference. Look at all that sunlight coming in. And when they log, this is what we told them to do. So it might look like there's just a lot of trash and stuff, but they did exactly what we wanted them to do. I told them to leave the treetops in the woods because we want this for cover for the next year or two while that regeneration blows up. It's healthy for the woods to have all that stuff breaking down in the woods and just building up the nutrients in the soil. And we told them to even leave them propped up if they could. So they said, you know, what we can do if we leave them in the woods, we can go drive and smash them all down when we're done. And I told them that's not what we want. We want those treetops sitting propped up. So they did an awesome job. They definitely followed the plan to a T. Oh, look at that deer right there. Bedded in the treetop. Oh, there he's just snuck through. Little Bucky. That's awesome. And that's what, after they dropped a bunch of trees on their first cut, I was walking just looking at it, and I busted multiple deer out of the treetops. So they're doing what they need to do for this year. But look at the sun. I mean, this is just a world of difference. We went from closed canopy wide open to full sun, and we're going to get deer bedding in here already this year. And that's one positive. There's a few positives of those growing season cuts. I think I mentioned in the previous video, I maybe did, maybe didn't, that the acorns get ground in from the logging equipment, so we'll get some oak regeneration. But the other positive is when you cut these trees during the growing season, I mean, they're going to hold, those treetops will hold their leaves for a long time, so it'll keep that cover aspect while that regeneration occurs. So I think in the original video I was standing somewhere right around here, and you can just see, I mean, she is wide open, and there's going to be a lot of good future bedding. So I'm kind of in a lower spot, but where that buck was bedded was right up on a point, which is pretty typical for a buck bedding spot. They love bedding off on those points. With all this new sunlight coming in, this regeneration is going to boom. This year, I mean, given it's the middle of July already, at best we'll probably just get maybe a green carpet. But next year, especially since there's a lot of maple in the seed base, we will get a lot of maple coming back, hopefully some oak, but those maples come back fast, and we should get 3, 4, 5 feet of growth next year if we get a good wet summer. So but I'm very excited about this. This is what our property has needed for a long time. I mean, look at those hillsides. There's just all kinds of tops and down trees, and the deer, they're going to be in it thick. And what I'm going to do today is there's some more pole timber type stuff that they didn't cut. Well, I'm going to go in and make a hinge cut bedding area to give some cover for the next few years while this regeneration booms. It's a spot I've pegged for 4 years because we've been waiting on getting this logging done for 4 years, and yeah, I'm excited to get in there and actually start getting some bedding. So this is what it looks like, and that's the biggest difference maker right there. All that sunlight. I mean, we did a very aggressive cut, so there's not a whole lot of trees left. We had a little bit of rutting. I told them, they were well aware of it, and I told them we weren't worried one bit about it because it has been raining on and off. So their main drag trail here, we got a little bit of rutting and a little bit of rutting heading out, but we are not concerned about that one bit. The majority of the woods looks great. So if we get a little rutting, it's not the end of the world. And that's the awesome part too, is I did some edge feathering there. Normally you could see right out into that food plot, but because of the edge feathering, now this area is kind of boxed in. Even though it's wide open, they can't see out in the food plot, so they still will feel somewhat secure in here. And I'll be continuing to edge feather around this woods just to, yeah, screen our access and screen the deer so they can't see out, and force those bucks to actually have to come out on the food plots and check for does. So a lot of benefits to logging. If you're on the fence about it, I can say if you get a good crew in there that follow your plan to a T, then you can really change your property. So what I will probably do, I mean, their drag trails are actually pretty open, but I'll still probably kind of sneak through and just clean up deer trails. I want to make sure that the trail cutting by the stand's wide open, which it pretty much is, and that's where the fence is down, so that's where they're going to cross anyway. But I might trim it up just a little bit through here, and then maybe, you know, at some point we'll see what the regeneration looks like. We might get a forestry mulcher back in here, start making travel corridors, or get a forestry mulcher in here, start doing some travel corridors. Yeah, it really just depends what that regrowth looks like, and you know, how the deer are using it. And if we want to guide and direct their movements, we'll probably start really getting serious about those travel corridors. So, all right, well, enough videotaping. I'm gonna go do some hinge cutting. So, have a great day, y'all.